All right, so that was our Smile feature. You guys can put it back up. All right, so that was our Smile feature on Lime Tree Lane, playwright's Melissa Samuel's story. Now we're talking about dealing with lupus. We're heading to 10 minutes to your health. Not sure we're running the bumper or no?
We did.
Oh, I knew that. All right, so let's welcome with us on set this morning Dr. Jacqueline Simmonds Goulbourne, who is a gerontologist. She is living with lupus. She's here with Dr. Kevin Goulbourne, who's a psychiatrist and director with the Mental Health and Substance Abuse unit of the Ministry of Health. Good morning to you both.
Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
May I ask what the relationship is over here? Just
Brothers
checking.
and sisters, perhaps?
Yeah. No. It's good to have you both here this morning. We're talking about lupus. I guess it's always relevant, but now when we're talking about hydroxychloroquine and drugs that treat lupus, it brings it into even sharper focus.
Sure.
Doc, let me start with you first and your story. You have your book there, Broken But Beautiful, which chronicles your journey.
All right.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey without going through the
book?
pages of your book? Yes.
Well, my journey with lupus is chronicled in this book.
Yes.
And my hope is that people will read the book so they will understand the journey. But just in a nutshell, lupus has not been a very good experience, or is not a very good experience. I am only about 2.5 years now without any flares. And we talk about flares because ever so often something will trigger and you get very ill. Well, I get very ill. And so I've been very ill since I've started to have this lupus affected me, or choosing me to be their outlet. And I've had different system failures. So at this point in time, my kidneys don't work as a result of the lupus. And it's a timely reminder because in March we looked at it was kidney month, and we looked at the different aspects of kidney disease. And because of lupus, I do dialysis.
Three times a week?
I do dialysis 3 times a week, yes. And so the journey, even though I'm not actively in a flare, the journey lupus is still with me, still present, because my kidneys still don't work. And I am on the look for a kidney. Yes. So I want a kidney. I would like to have a kidney transplant.
Do you see the camera there?
Yes.
Yes, because there may be somebody watching.
Yes.
Who may be
able to assist you.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
And so everybody with 2 kidneys can give. Anybody with 2 kidneys, let's start that way, not everybody, with 2 kidneys can give 1 kidney. I make the joke that anything that you have more than 1 of, you can give away 1. So we begin there. But you must not have hypertension, you must not have diabetes, you must not be a sickler, you must not have lupus, you should not have certain kinds of cancer and heart disease. The list goes on in terms of those who
you have
cannot.
to be pretty healthy.
You must be healthy.
You have to be pretty healthy.
Because you cannot find yourself, or you should not find yourself in a position that you're likely to need a kidney.
Compromised.
And so the people who normally have kidney disease are firstly the diabetics, then the hypertensives, and the list goes on.
Before I go to you, Kevin, I want to talk about living with lupus, because most people who have lupus, when I speak to them, it's an ongoing. The goalpost keeps moving. One time the flare-up is one thing, then it's something else. Different people have different symptoms. Isn't it so really hard to live with this thing that sometimes you don't even know where it's going?
That is true. And that is why it's called living with lupus.
Yeah.
Because everybody is different. And you might have, with lupus, you might have the joint pains. Most people will have joint pains. But interestingly enough, that's not my feature. I might have joint pain. I might even have joint pain, but don't know I have joint pain because that is not the overarching thing that's happening. So different things will happen to different ones of us depending on how it goes. But what is interesting is that most of us who have lupus or have an autoimmune condition will find that every other thing we're allergic to.
Yeah.
So you go, for example, you go to dialysis and you have to wash your hands first. And the soap that they have there to wash hands, I am allergic to. So I say, do you have another soap? And I am thinking, I'm going to bring my own soap because, yes, I have no problems washing my hands, but I'm allergic to that soap. And simple things like that.
So this is a particularly serious period for you.
Yes, it is.
Dr. Kevin, you have to watch her closely.
Yes,
I mean,
I'm
obviously she
trying to
knows
find
what
it
she's
on
doing, but you have to keep a close eye
That's
to
correct.
make sure that she's okay during these COVID-19 times. Tell me what this is. What this is like. It cannot be easy. She's outlined some of how she manages, but you're a psychiatrist. Obviously, you have to provide a lot of support in that arena. Talk to us about caring for someone who has a loved one who has lupus.
Yes, caring for someone who has lupus is quite challenging because a lot of times you have to try to put yourself in the person's shoes because a lot of times when she's quite ill, she may become more demanding and you have to be able to assist her as much as possible, sometimes being proactive to know what she may need before time. And then when she's quite ill and not able to make a decision for herself, you have to act a decision for her in her best interest. And then you have to always try not to limit her though, because you don't want to let her feel as if she can't do anything for herself. So you have to have a balance. Whatever she can do for herself, you allow her to do for herself. And so then allow her to ask you for assistance rather than you trying to give assistance all the time to make her feel as if she can't do things. And a lot of times she may actually do things and you have to assist her. So like she might be cooking, for example, and cooking a big meal, and you can't say to her, don't cook. But let her cook, and wherever she can manage afterwards, you help and take over and help her to finish the cooking.
It's COVID-19 time, and I suspect that for persons living with lupus, it's a very trying time. Even something as simple as being allergic to hand sanitizers, and you have to go about and people go and spray you, and you have to explain to them, no, you can't. What are your words or any tips on how do they approach a time like this?
Well, they have to be much aware of themselves and what are their issues, and be willing to explain to persons what are their limitations. Of course, they have to make sure they don't mix and mingle too much, because that is putting yourself at risk to be exposed to persons who you don't know may have COVID-19. And then, of course, we have to make sure that you, even though you are limited because you will be one of those persons who will not be encouraged to go out too much, you have to try to do things at home to occupy yourself, things that you probably would not do normally. But for her, she read a book which is about 500 pages during this time. And it's a book that was very interesting. So you find other things to do that you would not normally do to distract yourself from the actual situation which has limited you. And you can do whether it's cooking, whether it's doing something on the internet, connecting with friends that you not normally would do because you are busy at work, because it does work. So you find other things to do to occupy your mind and to keep you going.
Yes. Doc, your word to others who may have lupus, others who are ailing during this time.
What is important, too, is that you should know yourself. Nobody is able to tell you what are your limits. Know your own limits. And I will say
That sounds like a true word.
No, but it's true. It is true.
Yes.
I will say to the people who are living with lupus that you don't allow people to set your boundaries. You really push the envelope because you're not going to know. And do. I was speaking with a friend of mine just recently that has an autoimmune condition as well. And she's flaring. And I said to her, are you not using all these things to rub up yourself? You know, where this time is a time everybody is rubbing up themselves with all kinds of things. And she said, coming to think of it, that exactly is what is happening because I was not flaring before I started, before this COVID thing.
Yeah.
So be aware, not because everybody say use hand sanitizers, use this. Wash hands. Wash hands is always a good thing and do that. keep yourself safe. I want a word on the elderly, though.
Yes.
Because at this time, I find that we are discriminating against the elderly. Because there's nothing that says because you're older, you must be hypertensive, you must be having diabetes, you must be blind, you must be deaf. And that's the picture we have of the elderly, which is so wrong. There are so many other people who are deaf and blind and hypertensive and diabetic, and they are in there. Yes.
And you have
So-
many elderly folks who
are well,
fit. Yes.
who are well.
Yes.
And the data shows that there is not at any one point more than 15% of the elderly population who are ill at any one time. And therefore, that is not everybody. So there's nothing that says once you get to 60, you must be deaf, and everybody shouting at you,
Yes.
and you must be blind
Doc,
because you
school them,
can't
Doc.
see,
All right, Doc.
and they start change the tone and chuki you up, thinking you're
Yes,
big.
I think I have a snapshot of what happens in this space. Dr. Jacqueline Simmonds Goulbourne, may I ask you to just tell the folks again
About the book as well. And
about the book, but about what it is that you need at this time. A kidney is a gift of life for you.
Yes, I need a kidney, but nobody can have a kidney now because
Yes.
surgery puts you
Yes.
at risk. But I definitely need a kidney. So anybody who wants to give me a gift, I need a kidney. And I have a birthday every month, so. And you can give a kidney if you have two. And you can give a kidney if you don't have lupus and if you don't have any autoimmune conditions, you don't have hypertension, you don't have these underlying conditions
And
that we're
folks
talking
can live
about.
perfectly healthy
And-
lives on
yes.
one,
with one
kidney. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it would just be a process of figuring out if you're a match.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then,
And of course, I'm O positive, so we have to start with O.
okay.
I can only get from O.
Okay.
But I can give to anybody if I had the opportunity to do.
Gotcha.
Right. And because I do dialysis, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about dialysis, but people who do dialysis must go out. And on our holidays, we go to dialysis, but dialysis opens at 5 o'clock, so dialysis begins. So even though there's a curfew going on, dialysis people need to go out.
Okay, we need to go as well.
Yes.
The book is called?
The book is called
Broken?
Broken But Beautiful.
Okay.
A struggle with lupus and a journey for a kidney transplant.
All right, guys. So
Yes.
please support if you can, and if you can help in any other major way, we'd be so happy to hear from you this morning. Appreciate you. God bless you both for sharing your
Thank
story.
you.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for having
Dr.
us.
Jacqueline Simmonds Goulbourne, gerontologist living with lupus, and Dr. Kevin Goulbourne, psychiatrist and the director of the Mental Health and Substance Abuse, I'm going to say unit at the MOH. We'll be right back. Wash your hands, sanitize. If you know what you're sanitizing with, Doc say, and it will soon come back.
yeah.
10 minutes to your health